the former president was down at the border, and he did a couple different things, but I picked, because I thought this was probably, the clips I've heard, I thought this was the most interesting when he did the round table with Governor Abbott talking about the border, and he went actually to where the border, actually the crisis actually is. So I'm hoping that maybe he'll get on the phone with the current vice president and maybe let her know how it's going, but or what's going on there, since she was nowhere near it. But I thought this was probably the most interesting. So it's too long to cover in one segment, so we'll break it up. So let's hear a little bit of the former president today with the governor of Texas and this roundtable of sheriffs and law enforcement here in the area. Roll that, G.
We've had a great team, and the people in this room, every one is a friend of mine. In one form or another, we dealt with each other for a period of 4 years, and we brought the border to a level that it has never been. Mark, you have been incredible. Tom Homan has been unbelievable. Nobody knows it like Tom. And I have to say, Chad, you did a great job. You stepped up. You came in and you stepped up and you did a great job, and we appreciate it. And you're still doing a great job. But the border has never been this way. It went from the best border we've ever had in the history of our country, not 20 years. You know, they like to say over a 22-year period. No, it's the best ever by far. It took 2.5 years to start the wall because we were sued by everybody, and then and largely by the Democrats in Congress, by the way. And now, by the way, they're doing a disinformation campaign. They're saying that the unsafe border is your fault. You believe this? Because they're getting killed with the border. So now they're saying, oh, we got a problem. So let's blame the sheriffs. Let's blame the governors. Let's blame everybody else but them. They're also saying it with defund the police. They came out with a term, defund the police. And they're, you know, it's well documented, that's for sure. Just look at AOC and look at Omar. How's she doing? How's her country doing, by the way? And they're telling us how to run our country right now. How are they doing? And now they're saying, no, it was them, us, that wanted to defund. It's like Russia. Everyone said, Russia. I said, what's that all about? And then they said, oh, you were very friendly. Well, that's been proven to be false. Not only false, it was them that were associated with Russia. It was them, the Democrats and Hillary and the group that gave money to Russia. So it's a disinformation campaign, and it's a terrible campaign where they're trying to say this is a disaster for them. Let's blame the people that have really done something about it and can do something about it. But when your hands get tied because you no longer control the White House or Congress, it's a disgrace. Dan, we worked on it hard, and we worked on it long, and we discuss it every week. Right. And we had it down to a point that we'd never seen anything like it. I'm so glad that you mentioned the fentanyl, because the fentanyl was almost a non-factor. And now I hear it's just pouring into our country. And it's the most dangerous of all, but just pouring into our country. And we stopped also human trafficking, mostly in women. The human trafficking was almost stopped. We built almost 500 miles of wall, despite 2.5 years of lawsuits, litigation, started by Congress, Nancy Pelosi and the Congress. They sued us for everything. And we won the suits, and we started. And within a few months, you would have had the wall totally complete. And they ought to paint it. They're supposed to paint the wall, and they aren't even doing that. They got to get a coat of paint on the wall. Believe it or not, it does rust. Maybe that's what they like. Let it rust, let it rot. But we built a wall that was not a wall that anybody could get through. We had very few breakthroughs, unbelievably few. It just, the only breakthrough is let them walk around to the few open areas where you have, we had problems on land disputes, et cetera, et cetera. All of those problems were resolved. So we got them resolved. So you could have completed the wall in a couple of months, and they decided not to. Now I hear rumors that they want to do it, but it's only common sense. You know, they were saying we want high-tech security. And I used to go around in speeches, I say the two things that will never get old are a wheel and a wall. And it's true. I mean, when you get right down to it, the wall worked, really worked. And again, almost 500 miles of wall. And then we had another 200 that we were thinking about doing, less important areas from the standpoint of people coming in, but nevertheless, Sheriff, very important. We discussed it. And we did a great job. And within a period of a few months, it was all dissipated. Remain in Mexico, so important. Catch and release, we broke that one. Chain migration, where people come in and then they bring everybody else in with them. We did a hell of a job. And we had it down to really a science. It was down to a point where people just weren't getting in unless they came in legally. And again, the drugs had dropped by 70, 80, 90% in some cases. And fentanyl, is true, it almost dropped to nothing for whatever reason. But I guess the reason was we were tough. This was a great group. And all they had to do is go to the beach. If they went to the beach and did nothing, they would have been fine. And they could have even had other people with your policies take your places if they felt that they want Democrats, but that usually doesn't work out too well.